Well, and look, I was kind of half in and half out anyway, and I was just waiting for the damn thing to end. So I can't give you the play-by-play, but it was 34-28, then it became 37-28,
Right.
37-31, and it just felt like there was an onside kick.
Yeah, right.
And,
okay, so what, we recovered the onside
and Washington recovers it.
Okay.
No, Washington recovered it.
Okay.
That's what was so weird about it. Washington recovers it, and it's like, all right, well, okay, just take a couple of knees and this thing's over, but it wasn't quite that simple, and they did some dumb things, and they left more time on the clock, and somebody got injured at some point, and that screwed things up. And, again, I was ready to go to bed at that point. It's like, I just want to know what the final score is, and I was working on some stuff for PFT, and I was arguing with people on Twitter about the Lions' two-point play, and it's like, this damn thing is never going to end, and holy crap, and I locked in completely once I realized Texas has the ball back, and holy crap, it has enough time to drive down the field and win this game. And they started moving. It's like, they're going to win this game. And then ultimately, last play in the end zone. And I still don't know where the ball went. I watched the play.
Right.
And it almost looked like the guy was going to make the catch, but then you see his gloves and there's no ball. I still don't know where the ball went. I don't know, it was some kind of magical trick where the ball just disappeared, but clearly the receiver didn't catch it, and that was that, and Washington advances to play Michigan next week. And what I figure if they win, I feel like Jim Harbaugh is leaving anyway, but I feel like if they win, it's even more likely that he'll go. It'll be what I said Tom Brady should have done after he won the Super Bowl 51, coming back from the 28-3 deficit the same year he was suspended 4 games. You take the ball and you hand it to whoever's in charge, and you say, stick this in your trophy case, and you walk away.
Well, he didn't want to take any questions after the game, right? He made sure he said what he wanted to say, and then he just walked away. So he wasn't going to get, cornered by Reese Davis or anything in any of those. He wasn't going to hear that. He wasn't going to do it.
We're going to dominate.
Right.
We're going to dominate the day. And, and then we're going to dominate the next day. And then the day after that, we're going to dominate.
Yeah.
He has hired agent Don Yee, who represents Sean Payton.
Right.
And I think he kind of like floats around, and he's been represented by different people at times. I'm not up on the whole Jim Harbaugh agent representation history, but when it's a Sunday splash report from Adam Schefter, who's a Michigan guy who has close ties to Don Yee, that Jim Harbaugh has hired Don Yee, that's your signal. That's your sign. That's your message that he's in play. He's in play. He's been in play each of the last 2 years.
Right.
Now he's definitely in play. And what a way to make a closing argument if you're Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, first off, both games were awesome. I know I didn't stay awake for the second one, but awesome. Great on TV, fun to watch. So college football should be proud of that. The Rose Bowl was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, the setting, those two powerhouse schools going at it, the clutchness of Michigan driving late to tie it, to send it in overtime. Incredible. It really was. Jim Harbaugh, as we know, and we've joked, and of course I've taken a few shots at him because of some things that have happened in the past, but it's all good now. But, he hasn't won a lot of these big games like this, these standalone big games. It was almost like he didn't even know how to react after they won it. It really did. It really was kind of funny, I thought. But good for him. And I have the same feelings you do, Mike. I mean, I think that's kind of the feeling around football right now that, Harbaugh made this move because he's seriously looking to align himself with an NFL football team and go there. So we'll see where this goes. But I'm with you, too, that if he wins the national championship, he can then now just go check the box, and I think even feel more free to go after his ultimate goal, which is to win the Super Bowl, like he said many times.
Oh, he's made it clear that is the holy grail for football coaches. He's got unfinished business at the NFL level, winning that Lombardi trophy. And, college football championship, that's fine, too. That's what we're competing for here. But the Super Bowl is the thing. That's the thing his brother has, and his brother may end up with another one. The possibility of his brother getting another one as he's making these decisions, because the decisions will have been made by the time the confetti falls in Las Vegas to end Super Bowl 58, I think that gives him even more urgency to get back to work on getting at least one of the things that his brother might have 2 of. And This is deep-seated sibling rivalry stuff. And yeah, you love each other, but at the same time, there is a rivalry there. They do the same thing for a living. And when you're stacking up accomplishments, you'd at least like to be equal. You don't necessarily want to one-up your brother, but you'd at least like to be even with him.
Yeah.
You'd at least like to have something to show for it. He's got the ring and you don't. Oh, and he beat you in the game that got him the ring. So I don't think this is ever going away for Jim Harbaugh. The question is whether or not somebody's going to want him. And the Chargers have been linked to him. I could see the Raiders making a play for him, even though I think they should give Antonio Pierce a try. You look at the possibility of getting Jim Harbaugh if he's in play and keeping him away from the Chargers. Sorry, Antonio, we love you. We got a spot for you on the staff, but Jim Harbaugh is Jim Harbaugh. I can see Mark Davis saying that.
Yeah, I agreed. I mean, one, you say what you want about Jim Harbaugh. I mean, he's a hell of a football coach, right? You certainly can talk to different people, and everybody's got different feelings about him personally. He can be a little odd in conversations and all of that. But at the end of the day, when he's in a locker room, and I was there earlier this year, right, and you got to be around the Michigan players, I was shocked at how much they loved Jim Harbaugh, how real it was, how much they fed off of him and his energy and saying that he was kind of the lightning rod of the football team in the locker room on a day-to-day basis. Those were things that really stood out to me in my weekend in Michigan and seeing how he runs that organization. And if you're a team, like a Washington or the Chargers or the Raiders who haven't been on the right path, yeah, he's a guy that's definitely going to be able to get there, get everybody going in the right direction and make it all about, hey, let's get the focus on football and making us a better football team. And he certainly can be that guy.
And look, Jim Harbaugh gets a bad rap from the standpoint of he has a shelf life and he can't work with other people. And there's only so much time that can elapse before it's time for everyone to move on. He's been at Michigan longer than anyone thought he would make it. And here's the challenge, because at the end of the day, Jim and John are exactly alike. John does a better job of putting a public face on it that isn't intense, over the top. He'll give you the smile. He'll do the dance. He's not football 100% of the time. He can modulate it with just enough to avoid this idea that you can't get along with him. But they're both driven by an intense desire to win. So in Baltimore, they've realized since 2008 when he arrived there, they've got something. This guy's good. It's our job to coexist with him. It's not his job to coexist with us. This guy's a force of nature who is going to lead this franchise to victories and playoff appearances and Super Bowl wins. We got to keep this guy. In San Francisco, which was a hot mess before Jim Harbaugh got there, there were still elements of hot messiness.
Yeah.
And whether it was Jed York or Trent Baalke or both, they didn't understand. We got to get along with this guy. This guy's special. This guy can win us championships. Let's not fight with him. Let's not push back just for the sake of pushing back. Let's let him do his thing, because if he does his thing, we're going to win. They went from 6-10 to the brink of the Super Bowl, then to the Super Bowl, then to the brink of the Super Bowl, and by then it was broken and it was over. They almost traded him to the Browns, and then after that next season, he was out. Mutual parting. And he even said it's not a mutual parting. That's the thing. He doesn't care about any of the trappings or the niceties or the window dressing. He is who he is.
Yeah.
And, we love the authenticity of Mike McDaniel. Jim Harbaugh is every bit as authentic as Mike McDaniel. He's just a different guy.
Yeah, sure.
He doesn't try to hide who he is.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to be a jerk to be effective in a very competitive, testosterone-driven industry like football. And it works. Like you said, you saw it. It works. It speaks to these guys who have to go out there and put their physical well-being on the line to try to advance the goals of the football program.
Yeah, that's right. It does. It works, right? He's I think tweaked and tinkered with himself a little bit, even since he left the 49ers. I think he realized kind of like the reputation he had. I think he's tried to be a little more social or worldly, more like you're talking about with John, right? Because John, like you said, yeah, he's psycho football coach, but when he's got to put on a smile and talk and at least seem like a normal guy, he can do it really well. He can. Yeah, Jim doesn't seem to care that much about it, but I think he's found the fine line of, appeasing the people that are important in that type of conversation, and then he still is who he is, and that's tough, detailed, right? No nonsense, and their football team showed that yesterday. That was incredible. It really was. Rose Bowl, down 7 like that, late in the game. I mean, I was in my house literally like talking to my wife like, wow, this is a big drive right here. I can't believe this. Like, this is Jim Harbaugh's life right here. I literally was saying that out loud to my son and my wife because you just knew how important it was to him. They haven't been able to get over the hump in these type of football games. So to see that in that moment, the way they did it in that stadium, really, really awesome and good for Michigan.
In a nutshell, the difference between John and Jim Harbaugh is this. John Harbaugh has a natural, easy smile, and Jim Harbaugh has a forced, painful, reluctant smile.
Right.
That's it. And
With some crazy glasses.
Medium,
with some crazy glasses.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's afraid to smile. It's almost like Dwight Schrute explaining that I never smile because showing your teeth is a sign of weakness. Like, that's what he's got going on. John understands there's a point where it's okay to smile. There's a point where it's okay to just kind of be happy. Jim's never happy. Jim thinks if he's happy, he's letting his guard down in some way. Anyway, hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.